I will read you briefly what it is about so you can kind of internalize it and think about it. This program allows new agents, brand new agents, to kickstart their business by creating temporary partnerships with busy agents, which is a win-win for both involved. There is no long-term commitment, so I don't have to do a KPA. I don't have to 30, 60, 90 them. They have to be breathing, they have to be licensed, and they have to be somebody that I would trust with a client. And I share that vision with you because I look at my clients as kids going to a daycare. If you wouldn't put your kids with that person in a daycare, don't put your clients with them if they're green, no matter what. You have to feel comfortable that that person mirrors your business style, verve, and accoutrement. But it creates a win-win for both. No long-term commitment, just when it's needed. The new agent will gain real-world experience out there in the market that they're not getting sitting and waiting for family and friends, while adding a little money to their pocket. And the busy agent will, quote unquote, because you're going to hear me say it several times, leverage their time and prevent losing customers that fall through the crack because you're too busy or whatever. At Team Paley, we want every agent to move from new to incredibly successful. The best way to achieve this is to learn from the best agents we have at Team Paley. As successful agents, we know the majority of the time invested occurs on the buyer side of the sale. Right? I mean, listing is one thing. You can work with a buyer for 6 months to a year, walk in on an open house, sign in, put in an offer, and get screwed, pardon my French. By using an agent to initially show houses to interested buyers, you're freeing us up, while you're also helping a new agent gain real-life skills. As a new agent, you'll keep the busy agent showing properties to their home buying clients. You work together sourcing properties and to choose properties that fit the client's budget and location needs. This will give you the experience you need working directly with clients in the field. Once the buyer you're working with narrows the list of homes they're interested in purchasing, you will defer back to the lead agent or me, who will begin the negotiations. So we want them to do one thing only. Leverage your time by taking out the buyer, showing them properties, and then coming back to you to be the point of power in the transaction and continue the negotiations. You don't want to subjugate to them, you want to leverage them. It's a very big difference. Agents will get ahead of themselves. New agents that don't have experience will make mistakes. You still want to be controlling the consumer experience through the showing agent and then beyond into the office stage. Opportunities include open houses. If you have somebody that insists that you have more than one person at an open house, COVID insisted that you need more people at the open house. Why do I have to pull one of my strong agents that should be doing something else to assist, to sign in people? So we take the showing agent, we pay them $75 to attend an open house. We pay them $25 a door to take out a buyer and show them the door. We will also use them for photo shoots, if we're comfortable with them, home inspections, walkthroughs, wherever you're so busy that it doesn't make sense for you to go. And Gary Keller says you should take your income you made last year, divide it by 52 weeks, divide it by 40 hours, and come up with your hourly rate of pay. If your hourly rate of pay is $60 an hour, does it make sense for you to not hire somebody for 15 and do a higher level function? So that's kind of what the program is about. There are variations and hybrids of it that go into it. So again, if anybody is looking to it, we found this as an invaluable tool to leverage ourselves without making a hire and paying a la carte as somebody goes. And where we have had agents that were successful, we groomed them and brought them onto the team, and we were able to look at them for that 30, 60, 90, and then bring them on board comfortably. So that's kind of our showing agent program, and one of the things that I feel is really important in being able to grow a team so that you don't make mistakes, you leverage your time, and you leverage your listings so that you can do that many more cold calling. Even if you're a successful cold caller, it makes more sense for you to cold call than it does to open up a door for another agent. Now, our showing agent program, invariably, if it's a buyer that's looking to look at it, and we use the terminology direct buy. I'm sure all of you, when you get a buyer, vet out your buyers. And I'm sure you know qualifying questions for people. But my first question is, are you an agent or are you a direct buyer? And I use the word direct. And they say, no, I'm a buyer. And I go, great. Direct buyer to me means you're not working with an agent. Is that correct? Because somebody could say, yeah, I'm a buyer. And they hang up from you after they got your time or booked an appointment, and then send, I'm fronting my friend Tess the offer, or Tess and I are going to show up at the open house. I don't know about you. I don't have a problem giving. I don't have a problem being in culture. I have a problem doing somebody else's work and then getting paid for it. That bothers me.
What happens if someone says that he's a buyer, he doesn't mention that he's got an agent, and then he shows up at next appointment with an agent?
So two things. Number one, shame on me because I didn't ascertain it.
Yeah.
And number two, when people show up at my open house, we have an open house sign-in sheet. I don't do a master sign-in sheet. I have a sign-in sheet for one person at a time.
Good.
And on that sign-in sheet, it says, please confirm whether or not you're working with an agent. It says yes or no, they just have to circle it. We ask for the agent's name, they don't want to give it. But we will ask them at the door. Again, and it depends on how good you are, how comfortable you are, and how good a qualifying agent you are. When they come and they do that sign-in sheet and they sign it, I will look at them, even if they check yes. And I said, you're working exclusively with that agent, as if you have a buyer's broker agreement with that agent. And invariably, they will say no. I say, well, that's okay. You can work with who you want to. And they should have called me to ask me to receive you at my open house. That's proper etiquette. That's what I do. Quite honestly, I take my buyers to their open houses because how am I supposed to advise them on the home if I haven't seen it? So I do the best I can to politically correctly bury that agent for not being there, or at least make that buyer understand that they're getting less of a service than what I think they're entitled to, but I won't lock them out from the house. But below that, it says, if you say that you're not working with an agent, and you come in later, we will accommodate them, but we won't compensate. That's kind of enough.
Is it a, like,
It's not
is
legally
there any
binding.
regulation?
The only thing that's regulation, and I'm sure you all know it, procuring cause,
Yeah.
the MLS,
Yeah.
is the person that brings the offer. Your job is to pave the highway, pave the runway, before that gets down. And to the extent that you do that, is the extent that you'll have to put up with less bullshit.
Sorry for
No, this is organic and meant to be.
When you say procuring cost.
Whoever presents the offer to the listing agent.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is that let's say they say that they don't have an agent by any means, and they show up later with the agent, and they like present you any kind of proof that says that the agent told them that there was the open house and they literally was the procuring cost.
The only thing that is procuring cause is a written offer.
Okay.
I can't say Joe Blow showed it to me, and that's procuring cause. Procuring cause is, here is the offer, here is their name, and then, again, to the extent that you act professionally and insist that all offers are written, that all offers have a pre-approval and a New York State disclosure. Now, needless to say, and I'm sure you all know, if they're a buyer's agent, you guys can all hear me, right? Sure. Still hear me? If they say they're working with them and represent them as a buyer's agent, you are not allowed to ask them for their buyer's agent agreement. But you are entitled to see a New York State disclosure as a buyer's agent. And that should accompany that offer if they're coming in as a buyer's agent and looking to effect procuring costs.
I have a question for you while we're on this topic.
Yes.
So the same situation recently happened. It wasn't an open house though, it was showing the buyer didn't disclose that he had an agent. Then next thing you know, he said he's going to send me the offer. He sent me the offer. Well, now the agent sent me the offer 2 days later.
His friend got in his ear.
Right. So then we do, I okay it. We do the inspection. Agent doesn't show up again. So now I think I'm fair. I'm giving out 2 1/4. So now I want to negotiate the commission. I don't feel like he deserves 2 1/4. Is that something that you would do?
I don't know. I think if you have 2 1/4 on the listing and he brought in the offer, you can have that conversation. That's the moment that you wish you had multiple offers and you can jettison the guy. But if your fiduciary responsibility is still to your client,
Right.
the idea is don't queer the deal
For that.
because every deal, in my opinion, is an iceberg. And you have no idea what's below the waterline. You can't look at the surface or the horizon line and know what trouble or what winds can come from below. There was an article this morning that I looked at, I sent to my son. My son is a 9-year agent, professional, 33, getting married at the end of August. And they say if you lay with dogs, you wake up with fleas. So he's gained a lot of expertise and skill working with me as buyer agent, now a listing agent. And it's a constant complaint. And by the way, my motto with him was, I said, if I got to drag you through it, if I got to drag you through it, I got to drag you through it. And I did. I dragged him to it, and I dragged him through it. But now he's really a very strong, powerful agent on his own. And at 33, he's hitting his sphere. Before, he was working all of my buyers and etc. But now, his friends are getting married. His wife is introducing him to people. Your sphere will come. And your sphere, after 5, 4, 3, 6, 7 years, will continue to nourish you. And so you need to nourish that sphere. But that's my answer to you. But he constantly complains. Agents that call up 5 minutes before to cancel. Agents that don't show up. Agents that don't do their work. We all know categorically 93% of the sales is done by 7% of the agents. So, what does that mean? Well, from my point of view, when I sell myself and my team, we're ranked 40 in the state, and in the top of our MLS, and the top 1.5% of all agents and the #1 team. We do roughly about 90 million, roughly about 200 transactions a year. And we leverage that team. Now, my value proposition to showing agents that want to join our team, is leveraging the team and its success. Because we also do probably about 30 to 40% of our business is agent-to-agent referrals. From other agents looking at our stats, Googling us, or looking up the stats in KW and wanting to be handled by people that are at the top of that food chain. So, we all have to get used to the mediocrity of other agents that are not professional. And the only thing that you can do to get even is to up your game, be more professional on your vetting out of your offers, your agents, your buyers, and those agents. But I do tell my team, and I share with you too, we have 3 clients as agents: buyers, sellers, and other agents. Those relationships are key. If I'm in a bidding war, we're going to talk a little bit about that, if you like. And Kathy Pisani, who's the manager of the largest Daniel Gale office out there, has 5 offers on that property. Chances are she's going to say to her homeowner what she has. Let's go with Barry. Let me work the offer and get the offer right. You want to deal with top-level agents, professional resources, professional lenders. He gets his buyers to the closing table, and it's going to make a difference in your outcome. So those relationships are key. So you can do 2 things with a non-professional agent. Politely try to teach them. Do their work for them, for the sake of your client, for the sake of your pocketbook, and get the deal done. But mediocrity is necessary. So,
I have a question.
Thank you.
So, if an agent do call you and tell you, I'm sending my client over, how do you?
I respond.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling.
Mm.
No problem.
Okay.
Please send me their name because I don't always work my open houses. I want to let my agents know so your client is treated with the same respect I will expect from you if I have to send one of my agents to your open house. Now, what did I do? I gave and I took at the same time, right? I created a relationship with that agent by saying, I will honor you, and I will expect the same in return. That's how I would respond. Any other questions on?
When they came, when they came to the open house, that client came to the open house. Are you gonna have them like sign in and stuff like that?
Yes, I'll have them sign in. Mark that circle that they're working with an agent. Put that agent's name down, even if they gave it to me, because I might have been frenetic. He might have called me and on my way to the open house. I'll always try to get as much detail. Now, here's what I tell my agents that are working the open house. It makes sense, right, guys? You have, during COVID, we were only getting 1 person at a time. Lightened COVID, we were getting in 2 or 3 and keeping them safely distanced. Now, if I got a line of 30 people outside the door at an open house, I want to move them in and out as quickly as I can. So we'll try to get 3 in or whatever. 1 up, 1 down, 1 in the backyard, whatever. I tell my agents, there's who's ever at that door has now got my kids in their daycare, and you better vet that person out. So if they're not working with an agent, and I'll take them through that test, are you working exclusively with an agent? Because I want you to know, there's a line of 30 people out there. It is in your best interest to work with the listing agent in this case. So if it's a soft, I'm working with this person, you may want to give some thought before you sign their name. That's it. That's as much negative as I'll go. Now, if I have 2 agents working that open house, or 3, and I tell them there are 4 buyers in the house, 3 of them don't have an agent, who are you going to concentrate on? The one that you have a possibility of converting. Because you're not doing an open house for the seller. You are, but you're not. You're doing the house, open house, to convert. Because I'm going to challenge that person. I'm going to create a relationship with that person the same way I would if I were on a listing appointment and I walk in and I see they went to GW and I went to GW. Or the same way I would if I saw that they went to Skinny Atlas for Christmas upstate. It's all, what we do is build relationships. Real estate boils down to one equation. People talking to people. And in this particular case, about real estate. So I will vet them out because my main goal at that open house is to convert them into a buyer. And I will make sure that they know that. And the other thing that I tell my team is that when you're in an open house, you're on stage. Lucas, my son, did an open house for us in Manhasset at a condo. I could give you this without an example. Ultimately, people from down the block came to the open house. I guess we're going to get soaked on it.
Yeah.
See if we have an alternate. Yeah.
Thank you.
Somebody from down the road came in. When she saw our marketing material, when she saw how we vetted out people,
Dedication.
when she saw how we conduct ourselves at an open house,
Oh,
it's okay.
sticky.
Sticky table. We don't need
Yeah.
that. So far we're okay, but let's see what happens. She said to him, I have a place down the block. Would you mind coming and taking a look at it?
Yeah.
He went there. He did the listing appointment. He got the listing. I went back with him. We got the listing. Both of those units were sold. One was sold in 30 days. The other one was sold in 30 days and closed in 30 days. The other one was only held off to close in September. They were both $1 million properties, but those people were interviewing agents at an open house for their own listing. So know always, if you're sitting there and you're not connecting with them and active,
Oh, yeah.
they're going to say that's how they would be on my listing. So you're being interviewed. And one of my favorite lines from a great movie, we're being countered, we're being measured, and we're being weighed.
Yeah.
So know that you're on stage at that moment. A Knight's Tale.
Yeah, there you go. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Chaucer. Yeah.
Yeah. So open houses, I will vet them out to convert them to see if they have a possible listing, and I will go through every qualification comfortably and organically. Even I can tell which ones are in tight by body language. I can tell which ones I can approach. It becomes an art. And I will say to them, have you been looking long? Or you're frustrated with the market? Because my answer is always the right agent makes a difference in your outcome. There's an old joke, and I tell my wife, the answer is money. What was the question? The answer is they can be converted if you can demonstrate your value proposition comfortably and organically. And I think, like, I'm not prepped for today. I have a couple of things that I want to go over with you, but you own it. It's like scripts. The reason you do a script again and again, no matter how hokey it sounds, that at some point in time, you're going to own it. And when you own it, you can put your own slant on it. It doesn't sound scripted. My kids used to study for the SATs with flashcards. I said, you can memorize the word all you want. If you don't own it, you don't own it. You need to know the word, use the word in a sentence, make the word your own, then you own the word. So, if you want to be functional versus dysfunctional, have the script because you need them when you need them.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. It's
We're gonna move.
drizzling. Yeah, the
Let's
conference
go.
room is set up for you
Oh,
guys
cool.
now.
Awesome. Let's go. We'll stay dry.